really, thank you for the organization of this conference. Really, you've pulled together a great group of people, potential partners for us, so I thank you for that. And also your mix of substance with making all the logistics so seamless has been amazing. So thank you. Thank you very much for that. Hold on. Kill myself. Am I going to do it again? Artificial Intelligence for Social Good. It's the name of the conference. I'm here on behalf of UNDP, along with colleagues from Lebanon, Kuwait, and Sudan, and we're representing the social good side of the conference, I'll say. So we're not artificial intelligence experts. We're not data scientists. We're very much bringing the development aspect. And as Ingmar would call it, we're the problem owners. So we're coming with a number of sustainable development challenges that we think artificial intelligence can help provide a solution for. And so that's our perspective. That's what we're coming with. Very happy to be in the room with a lot of data scientists. As I told Rebecca, we call ourselves data enthusiasts. So not the experts, but have lots of challenges that we think artificial intelligence can address. So I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about kind of what UNDP and what the UN kind of more generally is bringing to the space of artificial intelligence. We think there's great opportunity to kind of, as the title says, reimagine the way governance happens through artificial intelligence. So using data, using emerging technologies, using artificial intelligence specifically as a way to improve the way services are imagined, the way services are delivered, the way services are tracked, all in the name of addressing the Sustainable Development Goals that were presented earlier. And where Sanjay, thank you for that. The Sustainable Development Goals are kind of our North Star in terms of the work that we do. And it's not only around it's really around all 17 of those. And I'll give examples in a number of the different goals, in the areas of a number of different goals. But that's kind of our driving force. But we do very much see that, that we have a role to play. So not only in terms of presenting challenges in those areas that AI might be able to address, but also in terms of setting kind of ensuring or bringing to the table discussion about the risks associated with it. So whether that's increased inequalities, the privacy and ethics issues as well, kind of being able to address those from a normative place, which is where the UN and UNDP sits. So I wanted to kind of go through what it is that we're bringing to the table in terms of kind of our policies and strategies, also I'll call them emerging areas of exploration, and then kind of what our ask is. I think the partnership part of our ask is probably the key piece of it. The partnership part has been, if I think about our data innovation work, I think that the partnership part has been probably the most challenging and the most time-consuming. And so to have a whole bunch of potential partners in the room with us today, I think is probably what I'm most excited about. So and I will encourage all my UNDP colleagues to make partners today. So thank you again, Ingmar, for bringing together this great group. So in terms of kind of what we bring to the table, the UN colleagues will hopefully recognize the quote on the left. The UN Secretary General has released a new strategy on, or a strategy on new technologies as of last September. And you can see in the quote that there's very much the emphasis on the optimist side and the future of what new technologies, including artificial intelligence, can bring, but also kind of a little bit of a red flag or a caution sign that it doesn't lead to increased inequalities, increased violence. Ingmar gave an example of the inequalities that could result from this kind of technology, and the way the Secretary General is talking about AI in his new strategy is very much kind of balancing the potential as well as the risks. Within UNDP, our own administrator is also a big fan of innovation generally, but specifically new technologies, including artificial intelligence. Yet again, he's referring to the importance of managing both the potential as well as making sure that we don't cause more harm. So is do no harm kind of approach to the way we do development, but specifically the way we're embracing new technologies. So kind of from the highest levels of our organizations within UN, within UNDP, there's an embracing of technology, of artificial intelligence, while recognizing that we need to be mindful of the potential downfall. So this is more from the Secretary General strategy on new technologies. Kind of first and foremost is this idea of promoting global values and adhering to international conventions, norms, standards, laws. This idea of fostering inclusion and accountability, transparency, is very much at the heart of what he is espousing us within the UN system and how we should embrace new technologies and artificial intelligence. In terms of the commitments that he's asking the organization to make, it's very much around not only building our own capacities, because we don't have a lot of data scientists within UNDP, within the UN system, but rather building our own capacities to understand what those technologies are and how we might be able to help our partner governments be able to use them to promote development, support development, and reach the Sustainable Development Goals. So within UNDP, we kind of have a call for a number of different actions to be taken to have a kind of ethical and productive, constructive use of artificial intelligence within the system and within, in conjunction with our partners. So first and foremost, leave no one behind. So this is part of Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development. It's kind of at the core or the heart of that agenda. And this is very much on our minds when we're thinking about artificial intelligence. So whether we're thinking about trying to reduce the digital divide, whether we're trying to encourage participation of those who are maybe at the margins, how can we use artificial intelligence in a way that reaches everyone? So here's their voice, records their footprint, or their digital footprint, literal footprint. How can we make sure that we're not leaving those who might not be connected, those who might wish not to be connected? How can we serve them in the best way possible? And making sure that we're not leaving those who are already marginalized further behind. The second kind of call is around creating data commons. And the idea is that we want to open up data and make it available to all to use for social good. So AI for social good relies on data for social good. And making that data usable, accessible to all of those who want to be able to use it for planning, programming, measuring impact. We think there's an opportunity to create a much more open data environment for us to be able to collectively use. The third one is around facilitating innovation, which, generally speaking, as an innovation person, I would say everything we do should facilitate innovation. But specifically what we're thinking about here is the putting in place policies, regulations, laws, mechanisms to be able to facilitate exploration and experimentation. So it kind of relates to the data commons point, but the idea of creating an enabling environment that allows for exploration and the use of new technologies, specifically AI. there isn't necessarily a lot in this space, regulating this space. I think we're probably you all are probably much further ahead in thinking than many of our partner governments, and trying to kind of help governments catch up to kind of the horizon of artificial intelligence. And really the role of UNDP is to support governments to work with you to help put in place policies and regulations and mechanisms that can use AI for social good, or AI for achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. Excuse me. The next one around setting up ecosystems, again, connected to the idea of the first three, but it's creating a platform, virtual, literal, physical, whatever, of partners coming together that support one another in generating data, accessing data, making it available, being able to analyze it, being able to act on it. And probably that last one is most important, being able to act on the analytics that come through. But setting up an ecosystem for us to be able to work better together. The idea of establishing not only ethical frameworks, but accountability mechanisms or systems. It's all well and good if we have kind of guidelines on ethics, but if there's no accountability behind that, there's no teeth to that, what does it matter? So we're very much working with national partners to be able to set up accountability mechanisms to enforce ethics, guidelines of ethics and privacy that we're seeing. And then the last part is combining collective intelligence with artificial intelligence. So we're big fans of collective intelligence, which again ties back to the first point, which is leaving no one behind. How can we use collective intelligence in a way that's inclusive and connect that to artificial intelligence? So it's a combination of both of those kinds of intelligence that we're espousing. So that's a kind of a quick overview in terms of what we call for. How are we doing on time? Oh, great, awesome. Okay, so the future of governance. I wanted to just give a few examples of where we're in this, how we're acting, or where we're acting in this space. Like I said, we're looking to use artificial intelligence and new technologies more generally to make sense of things, make sense of complexity, to improve service delivery, to kind of measure progress and impact, and all of that kind of combined to ensure accountability or increase accountability, trust, and transparency. So I'll just give a couple of examples of areas where we're working and we're looking to increase our work. So the first is around sense making. So we're looking to use data, artificial intelligence in strategic planning, kind of getting a pulse, sentiment analysis, conflict trend analysis, kind of what's going on. So for example, we partnered with the IBM's Watson Research Center to look at our rapid integrated assessment methodology. This is a methodology that we've used for a while, that UNDP has used for a while, that usually takes months. We look at a country's national development plans, their sector plans, thousands and thousands and thousands of pages. And working with the IBM's Research Center, we're able to apply kind of an artificial intelligence methodology to this to be able to understand how those plans align with the Sustainable Development Goals, so we understand kind of they understand where they're hitting certain SDGs and where they're not hitting certain SDGs. And that process was, I think it went from average of 4 months down to an average of 4 days. So, and it also gave insights that the human intelligence factor was missing. So we were very excited about the potential of this to help with strategic planning at a national level. We're doing lots of exercises around sentiment analysis. Our most recent one is in Lebanon, where we've been using WhatsApp data with the support I think we're working with QCRI on this one a bit, to understand the kind of use WhatsApp correspondence. Everybody has opted in to this exercise, and we've been able to analyze the correspondence, the texting back and forth and the audios back and forth to understand kind of almost as an early warning mechanism where we see trouble emerging between, or could be trouble emerging between refugees and host communities. We're looking to make sense in the context of our future of cities work. So using artificial intelligence and other sources or other mechanisms to identify SDG hotspots. We're also looking at the future of work, not so much about the types of skills that are required, but the way work is delivered. And so looking the way people are constructing their work, the way they are working, whether it's through remote work or gig work, and using data and artificial intelligence to understand kind of how that is happening and how we might be able to look at different kinds of policies. So I have a few more examples, but I'm going to wrap it up. And just say our ask. Our ask is in 3 areas. Certainly looking at data, being able to access more and more data. The more data we have, the better our analysis and support can be. Looking at the technical and analytical skills. As I said, we're not data scientists, generally speaking, within UNDP. And then certainly partnerships. We are part of the Partnership for AI. It's a global partner, and I think partnership, and I think many of us in the room have our organizations are part of this. But we very much need to expand our partnerships to be able to deliver on making sense, delivering better services, measuring impact in conjunction with our national partners. So thank you very much.